Sunday night in Belgrade. Most people in the city are tuning into the news program Impressions of the Week. They even give dinner parties to watch it. It's broadcast by a private station called Studio B, which does what no other television organization in the whole of what was Yugoslavia is doing. It offers an independent source of news.
Studio B is the only objective TV channel on Belgrade, or not only Belgrade, Serbians.
Yugoslavia, also, in Croatia also. I think always it's best if you have a more point of view and you can make your own opinion about things.
They show the things like they are, really they are.
At first, Studio B was a radio station and started as a joke on April 1st, 1970. 3 years ago, in much the same spirit, it launched the first independent TV station in Yugoslavia. Now, Studio B is the only alternative to the state-run television service, which follows the government line uncritically. Studio B takes a different editorial approach.
If we report from the war, from Sarajevo, we put on our program, both on radio and TV, everything what Muslim says about that event, what Croats says about that event, what Serbs from Bosnia says about that event, what foreign press, if we can get said about that event, and say to all our viewers, try not to believe anybody. First start with us. There is no one truth. You have your own brain and make your own commentaries.
Studio B's policy has paid off in terms of both advertising revenue and audience figures. The hyperinflation in Serbia means that newspapers cost a half a day's average earnings, and few people buy them. According to an independent survey, 75% of Belgrade viewers watch Studio B daily. The Serbian government finds that an irritation.
Studio B nosi etiketu slobodne, nezavisne televizije. Kao građanin, ja ne volim mnogo ove koji se unapred sami proglašavaju slobodnim, nezavisnim i objektivnim.
So far, this freedom reaches no further than 100 kilometers around Belgrade. Studio B has only a few transmitters, and it can't afford to buy more. New equipment is prohibitively expensive. The technicians have to patch up what's already there.
It's a semi-professional equipment, and we think if you want to make TV, main thing is if you have a brain. TV is making with your brain, not only with equipment. Equipment only improve that what you have in your head. That's our way to survive.
The engineers at Studio B coax life back into equipment that other broadcasters would have discarded years ago. Things should have improved in December when UN sanctions were lifted to allow the International Media Fund in New York to send $250,000 worth of video equipment to Studio B to promote independent reporting. But the trucks carrying it disappeared. The drivers said they were held at gunpoint. Studio B told the police, but nothing was recovered.
Ja sam video u novinama tu priču o nekakvim hajdučkim i kaubojskim prepadima na kamione koji su navodno nosili opremu za Studio B. Proveravao sam kod naše policije. Za sada nema tragova, nema dokaza da je ta priča istinita.
At about the same time, a Serbian nationalist television channel in Bosnia took delivery of new television equipment, which was donated by a Serbian support group.
It is this regime which is, paying lip service to the freedom of speech and of the press, and yet doing everything to limit it. I mean, if the press has to work on sort of with no money, like Studio B, where they get equipment which is then stolen on the way, intimidation all the time. Their journalists live under pressure and in fear.
Studio B carries on with what it has. Today, one of its top reporters, Sanja Tomofejev, has taken out the company car to investigate a story for his program, which is called From Rumors to Truth.
The main idea was to make a program for our public to ask some questions, to ask anything what they heard somewhere outside, maybe in the bus, in the neighborhood, on the street, you know.
Sanja specializes in investigating rumors about corruption in public life, about President Milosevic's finances, for example. He also examines things that arise from people's frustrations with economic sanctions. Can diesel fuel be produced from palm trees, for instance? Sanja picks the questions which he feels are in the public interest to answer. Many of them arise from the feeling among Serbs that the whole world is against them. The program goes on air with his conclusions. In the case of Milosevic, Sanja found that he'd been given a mortgage on extremely favorable terms. As for the palm trees, it seems it would take a whole forest of them to produce a bucket full of fuel. Studio B covers more than just news and current affairs. They produce their own children's show, and once a week the studio is handed over to teenagers who produce their own live show. And they broadcast a French rock music station daily. Liveliness and imagination make up for the lack of equipment and guarantee the advertising which supports the station. But Studio B is still unable to pay for foreign news. Using electronic Robin Hood techniques, they scan the airwaves and record material. Most broadcasters agree to look the other way, as sanctions prevent any direct sales to Belgrade. It may be a good investment in the future, as Studio B continues to extend its audience. Studio B is proud of its black sheep image in a country where impartial journalism is rare. The Serbian government may disapprove, but Studio B operates within the law and the freedom of press guaranteed in the Constitution.
We have decided to survive. They know that. Fortunately for us, we are some kind of institution in Belgrade. They can't stop us.
Studio B. Oko sveta.
At a time when propaganda is rife throughout Yugoslavia, Studio B is determined to remain an independent voice in Serbia and the world.